Final score, North Carolina 87, Kansas 74. Caleb Wilson got 24 points and 7 rebounds. Five-star freshman was great on the court. Then he was also great with the media. In short, Caleb Wilson, after the game, more or less said he's tired of the haters acting like he's not one of the very best freshmen in this super stacked freshman class. He said he wanted to show the whole world, everybody from Chapel Hill to Cambodia, and all points in between, that he belongs in the same class as Cameron Boozer, AJ DeBonsa, Darren Peterson, and let's throw Koa Pete in there as well. And then he explained that he is constantly changing his wallpaper on his phone to things he believes will motivate him. Naturally, somebody was like, "So what's your wallpaper looking like today?" And he said, in advance of the Kansas game, he changed his wallpaper to a picture that represented his feeling after the McDonald's All-American game when I, quote, didn't touch the ball and Darren Peterson was on my team. So that was my wallpaper. LOL, excellent work. Strong jaw. What'd you make of Caleb Wilson's performance, both on the court and off, because he's obviously fabulous on the court, but my God, I can't get a microphone in front of him fast enough. I'm ready to hear him talk again.
We love a petty king. I don't know if you're of that belief, GP, but I just love a petty king. And this was just an all-timer. I mean, like the coolness with which he was kind of exuding confidence after that win. I mean, you got to be feeling yourself a little bit, right? Like you really came out on a big stage for North Carolina against a really good, high expectations Kansas team that, you know, by all accounts, people believe that Darren Peterson could be and will be in the National Player of the Year conversation for Kansas. And he outdueled Peterson just straight up. Like, he was the best player, I think, on both teams. And you're talking about the best trash talkers or just the best talkers in this freshman class. Like, he's got to be top 2. And I don't think he's number 2, GP. Like, I really enjoyed listening to him talk after that game and just going through his process of, you know, how he almost like Michael Jordan's himself. He, you know, like, he just finds ways to find disrespect. And, you know, like, he's probably over the McDonald's All-American game by now, but
it doesn't sound like it.
It sure didn't seem like he was. Yeah. I mean, and so, like, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. GP, if you're starting a team right now from scratch, you taking Caleb Wilson or Darren Peterson? Straight up. You got to pick between one of the two.
Like, if I'm being completely honest, I would take Darren Peterson.
You're disrespecting Caleb Wilson. You're disrespecting him. You're going to be on a wallpaper.
I'm going to end up on the wallpaper next. Hold on. Let's get a good Snapchat for the wallpaper. You ready? Let's put that for that's for your wallpaper, Caleb. All right. 1, 2, 3. All right. You could put us both on the wallpaper. Perhaps we deserve it. I would take Darren Peterson, but that should not be interpreted as a slight towards Caleb Wilson. And I have noticed this already, because Caleb is the loudest to say it, I guess, or the boldest and perhaps the best. But, like, it's already, like, we're not even a week into the season completely, and it's already a thing of, why am I not talked about the way they're talked about? Right. So we have set up this weird thing. This is like, follow me here, because I think this is funny, because it's a construct that has been made that is creating all of this. We have decided there's a big 3, right? Mm-hmm. We could have said big 4. We could have said big 10. We could have said we didn't have to put a number on it. We could have just said an amazing freshman class. Oh, buddy, you won't believe this freshman class. But we started saying big 3. Everybody was like, there's a big 3. And I don't mean you and I mean, does everybody. That's the way people talk about this freshman class.
Yeah.
You know, it's an incredible freshman class. It's the big 3. Darren Peterson, AJ DeBonsa, Cameron Boozer, DeBonsa, Peterson. Put them in any order. Who would you take? Who would you take for your college basketball team? Who would you take for your NBA team? Who's the big 3? Who's the best of the big 3? But it's always been a big 3. And then Koa Pete, like, does what he does. And he's like, yo, I don't know why I'm not in that conversation. Mm-hmm. And now you get Caleb Wilson, like, I don't know why I'm not in that conversation. And I imagine Cam Ward's going to stand up and say it at some point. Yeah. There's obviously – so we've got what is possibly the greatest freshman class of all time. But the way we've been talking about it, we've just really focused on the top three. And it becomes like a rope at a club. You're either on this side of it or that side of it. Are you one of these freshmen, like the big three? Or are you just one of the other freshmen? And the guys who have been considered the other ones, they don't like that because they're the other ones. They think they belong in any group with anybody, and it's shaping already like a week into this thing, and it's the freshman class has delivered over and over again.
It's been fantastic. Yeah, I mean, and Arkansas guard Darius Acuff maybe didn't acquit himself well against Michigan State, but he looks really good. Caleb Wilson's been fantastic. Cam Ward, as you mentioned, from Michigan State, looked really good against Arkansas over the weekend. Like this freshman class, I think obviously you can talk about Darren Peterson, you can talk about Cameron Boozer, you can talk about AJ DeBanza. They're going to look really good. And, if I were to rank them, I probably would put them in the top three. They would still be probably the big three. But the entirety, I think the depth of this freshman class is going to continue to surprise people because I don't think this Caleb Wilson performance was some anomaly. I think he is legitimately, potentially going to be in the mix for an All-American case if he continues to play the way that he does. You talk about depth of this freshman class with Koa Pete as well. There's a lot of really good young players in college basketball this season who made performances in the first week of the season, and I think will continue to stand out, kind of as the season goes along as well.
Yeah, so Wilson gets a lot of the attention because of the way he played and then because of the way he talked. But all around, this was good stuff from North Carolina.
Yeah.
And I got to imagine you're a Tar Heel fan or a Tar Heel coach. Like, you couldn't feel better about things right now. There's just sort of anxiety attached to the season. Like, it's been up and down with Hubert, some really high highs, but some really, like, what are we doing lows. Everybody understands he's entering this season with real job pressure. That's not fun considering he is an alum and also widely regarded as like the nicest man in the world. And so it's just, there's an uncomfortableness to it. And then uncertainty connected to it. Like, all right, we could be good, but will we be? Because I thought we were going to be that one year and we weren't. But then I didn't know about that other year, but then we were in the championship game and there's just like, and for your first big statement to be win over fellow blue blood program, and not just you scored more points than the other team, but you did it with your five-star freshman being a freshman star. Like that, you didn't do it with. I just think that's all early in the season. Your five-star freshman shows up in a big game and like delivers. That starts to be something. Okay, maybe now we know we can count on this.
Yep.
Who knew Koa Pete was Koa Pete before he did what he did the other night, outside of maybe Tommy Lloyd? Now, I'm not talking about him like he's a Division II prospect, but like he wasn't expected to come out and dominate Florida's front line. And then he came out and did it. You're like, okay, now we might be dealing with something special. And what we saw from Caleb Wilson on Friday night in a high-profile matchup against another high-profile freshman, he was excellent. And if I'm a North Carolina fan, it's still early, but I'm starting to go, okay, maybe we got something here. Maybe we got something here, and we can turn this thing into a really good place. They look certainly better on Friday night than most people, ourselves included, thought they would look. We're talking more favorably and positively about North Carolina now than we did probably all off season because there's a lot of questions connected to them. But now we're looking at it, and at least what we saw on Friday looked good.
And I would add to that, GP, like it's not just that Caleb Wilson looked awesome because obviously he looked awesome, 24, 7, and 4 in that game. Arizona transfer Henry Vassar looked great. Yeah. 20 points, 4 assists in the win. I thought that was, another kind of potential X factor of how this season will go for North Carolina. So far, so good. Seth Trimble was 17, 8, and 3. And Trimble, to his credit, was like a strength for Carolina in this game. I thought, in the offseason that Carolina may have missed an opportunity by not upgrading off of him in the offseason. May have been wrong. Like this is someone who's been consistent, reliable. His developmental trajectory continues to go on the up and up. And I think the pieces for this Carolina team, I don't want to overreact too much, but I think you have to be optimistic about how this team looks, how the pieces fit. We talked about St. John's earlier in this podcast, right? Like the talent, obviously really good. Questions about how the pieces fit. So far for Carolina, I think the overwhelming consensus was the talent's pretty good, and we'll see how the pieces fit. Well, so far, 2 games in the season, obviously, the pieces seem to fit pretty well for this Carolina team on the whole.
On Kansas, let's real quick on them. Everybody knows Darren Peterson is going to be great. The question is, how great does he need to be every night for them to be good?
Yeah.
And the early returns on that aren't encouraging for KU, because if you watched it, it does kind of look like they need him to be superhuman for them to be what it is Kansas fans expect from KU under Bill Self. Like, you look at this roster and you go, okay, there's some talent on it, but who else is a Kansas level player in the way that we think about Kansas basketball under Bill Self? Like, Flory Bethunga is immensely talented, but like, is this going to be a breakthrough season for him? Against Carolina, he just got 8 points and 7 rebounds. You think of Almarco Jackson, a former 5-star recruit, but I think you can tell something by the fact that he's not even in the starting lineup, suggests that he has not turned into what it is you hope, a 5-star prospect going into his 3rd year of college. Yep. Even though he missed all of last season, a former 5-star prospect going into a 3rd year of college, if he's coming off your bench and that's your starting lineup, that tells me something about him as well. Melvin Council has been good, but will he be good at this level for this program to the extent they need him to be? This is why you saw Kansas closer to, say, 25 in a lot of rankings as opposed to 1. There was a time where you were always going to see Kansas closer to 1 than 25. This time in a lot of rankings, you saw them closer to 25 than 1. And the reason is because outside of Darren Peterson, the roster, relative to their own lofty standards at KU, seems to be lacking some. And if you held that opinion going into Friday night, there ain't much that happened on Friday night that moved you off of it, is there?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, you go to KenPom right now, GP, and Kansas is at number 30. So yeah, I mean, you're right. You're closer to 25 than to 1. That's not typically the case with Kansas under Bill Self. We'll see kind of how this team progresses. I like some of the pieces that they have, but I think to your point, like, you go down the roster and just on paper, like Darren Peterson, obviously Kansas level talent that you would expect. But some of the pieces around him, like, I think there are some real questions about the talent level on this Kansas team. And maybe this was kind of a result that maybe opens the eyes and maybe even an inflection point for this Kansas team moving forward to kind of reconfigure, to rejigger some of the expectations for this year. I'm not going to write them off just yet, but yeah, unless Darren Peterson is someone who can continually rise everyone around him, which maybe he is. Like, I think on any given night, he's bound to go for 30 points and 10 assists. Like, he is someone who I think can genuinely elevate the talent around him. But when you're questioning the talent around him, I think that is a real concern when you're evaluating this Kansas team moving forward. And so yeah, we'll see kind of what that looks like for Kansas here in the near future. But I think this result, 87-74 loss at North Carolina, certainly opens some eyes and should maybe cause you to reconsider kind of the ceiling floor case for this Kansas team overall.
Looking ahead for both teams, next up for North Carolina, they get Radford on Tuesday. Shouts to Radford legends Doug Day, Javante Green. Next up for Kansas, Tuesday's game with Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and KU's next game against a ranked opponent. That'll be November 18th against Duke.